イングリッシュコーチの JJ です。 MLB のレギュラーシーズンが終わってしまったんですが、まだまだ大谷翔平選手について話していきたいと思います。今回はですね、以前私がエンジェルスタジアムに行ってインタビューをした時の動画を皆様にご紹介したいと思います。なんですけど、その前になんとですね、私試合を見に行った時にですね、とてもいい席に恵まれまして MLB の公式のハイライトに映ってしまったのでですね、見ていきたいと思うんですけども、このシーンはですね、もう大谷選手の9勝目がかかっているというシーンでですね、実はもう6回を投げたところで今日はもう投げ終わったんじゃないかというふうに思ったらですね、なんと7回も出てきて、そして9勝目のチャンスがあって、ここでですね抑えなかったら9勝目が潰れてしまうという、そういうすごい盛り上がるシーンでですね、私もついつい盛り上がりすぎてしまってですね、審判につられてこんな動きをしていましたので見ていきましょう。
One out, runner on first, got him looking, gets the call. That's the second time he's gotten that call. There's some late movement on one out, runner on first, got him.
もうこんな感じでですね、すごい盛り上がってすごく楽しむことができました。なんですけどもね、試合を見ただけでなくしっかりインタビューもしてきましたので、そのインタビューの動画を見ていきたいと思います。インタビューの動画を見る前にいくつかお話したいことがあります。まずですね、今回はいつもの英語の解説っていうような感じではなくてですね、内容を皆様にお伝えしたいというふうに思っていますので、英語の解説はありません。そしてですね、字幕もですね、どちらかというと内容を理解してもらえるためにっていうことを考えて作ったものなので、いつものですね、英語解説とはちょっと違うような字幕になっていると思いますのでご了承ください。そして最後にですね、インタビューをした日には少し風が強くてですね、またマイクもなかなかね、私が上手に近づけなかったせいでちょっと音のバランスが悪かったのでですね、ちょっと音質を下げて音のバランスをとっていますので、それをですねご了承の上見ていただき、そして楽しんでいただければというふうに思いますので、ぜひ見ていってください。はい、ではまずファンに質問をしていきたいと思います。 Alright, thank you for being willing to do this interview. So my question is, first of all, do you like Shohei the pitcher more or the Shohei the batter more?
He likes the pitcher.
Pitcher.
I
yes.
like to see him hit.
Alright, why is that?
I think pitching is a lot harder than hitting. So it's cool to see someone who can do both at a high level, which we haven't seen in a long time. Most pitchers don't even top out over 100, and just to see him do that is just amazing. I think better than his hitting.
Awesome, thank you. And you like him hitting more?
Yeah, I love to see the way that he just like attacks the ball and he just like totally crushes it every time he hits it out of the stadium. And I think the reaction that people get when he, hits it out of the stadium is just something that you cannot experience like through a TV. And if you're there, it's like the best feeling ever. So that's why I like to see him hit.
Awesome, thank you. So you mentioned we haven't had a two-way player in a long time, right? So what do you think about Shohei being compared to Babe Ruth?
It's hard, right? Because back then everything was so different. Players back then didn't have the diet or the training or the same help that the players get today. So it's really hard to compare Shohei to Babe Ruth. I think he's the closest thing to Babe Ruth of what we've seen in the last 100 years. Do I think he's better? Maybe we'll see, but it's just too hard to compare because of the time differences and how everything was back then.
Yeah, so you have respect for both?
Yes.
Is that safe to say?
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so my next question for you is, so Shohei is doing he's a two-way player right now, but some people are concerned about him being like injury prone a little bit. Do you want him to continue being a two-way player, or do you want him to focus on one?
I think that's up to him, because, we don't know. He's shown to do it in Japan for since 2015, and he hasn't had many injuries in Japan and only had his Tommy John here in America. So I think, with the right help and, if he gets his rest, takes care of his body and all of that, I think he can continue being a two-way player. And he's shown he can do it for the past, 4 or so years. But if he does become injury prone, I'd rather see him, maybe cut down to one position either pitcher or hitting whatever's easiest on his body, because I'd hate to see him retire early because of injuries.
What about you?
I think that the only way that Shohei would ever play is really being a two-way player, because I think that's just what he prefers truly, and I think he loves both. So I think he would probably retire rather than just play one position, because I think he loves pitching and hitting just equally. So I mean, I love to see him play both positions, but like you said, if he is getting injured quite a bit, I would rather see him go down to one position, or I would hate to see him retire, but I'd rather him be safe and healthy and keep going, and maybe be a coach in the future or something like that, and I'd hate to see him fail to injury. So
Awesome, thank you. So my last question for you is, so Shohei seems to be the best pitcher on the team. Is that kind of safe to say? Yeah. Do you want him to pitch more often, or do you like how the Angels kind of have a different rotation than other teams?
I think the rotation right now is good. The six-man rotation really helps him out a lot, especially when he's hitting. I would rather, like you said with the last question, injury-prone, and I feel like if they push him harder and, have him in a five-man rotation, it's going to be a lot harder. Because with a six-man rotation, he gets 2 days of rest sometimes, instead of, having the 1 day of rest in a five-man rotation. So I like the rotation they have right now for him.
I do too. I think until we get better pitchers on our team, I would like to see him play. I would like to see him pitch more, just because he is our saving grace. But yeah, I think, like you said, I would like him to stay. He needs his rest, because he's probably our best player that we have. But so until we get some better pitchers, I would like to see him pitch more, and I think that's what a lot of fans come out to see, because I come to almost every game.
Oh, yeah?
And when Ohtani's pitching, it's just this whole stadium is packed. Everybody just loves to watch him pitch. But yeah, I would like to see him pitch more. But of course, if it's tiring him out, this rotation is fine.
Awesome, thank you so much, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
はい、以上です。はい、では次のインタビューをしていきたいと思います。Thank you for being willing to answer our questions. So I want to ask you some questions about what you want from the Angels organization in the next offseason. So what kind of moves do you want to see in the next offseason?
Oh, better pitching, better defense. Yes.
So were you happy with the draft when they just, drafted all these new pitchers and no field players?
Well, yes, pitchers at a premium. We'll see how they develop.
Awesome. So the next question is, obviously, Shohei's having a contract coming up,
Yeah.
not really soon, but fairly soon. How much do you think the Angels organization should pay him?
$1 less than Mike Trout.
So you don't want him to be paid more than Mike Trout?
About the same, yes.
About the same, but that's still pretty high, right? That's the second highest in
Yes.
sports history right now.
Yes.
Okay, so one last question for you. So if you were the GM of the Angels and you had to pick Shohei or Mike Trout to build your franchise, who are you picking?
Oh, Shohei, because he's younger, I think, a couple years younger.
Okay, but as for talent, you see them pretty much the same?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
はい、では次のインタビューをしていきたいと思います。So, are you a fan of the Angels?
I am not a fan of any team.
Okay, so why are you here?
I am a fan of excellence in competition, and I believe I get to witness who is called today's modern Babe Ruth, Shohei Ohtani, pitching, batting, and stealing bases.
Awesome. Do you come to the stadium often?
No, I do not.
But it's not your first time, I'm assuming.
It is not my first time, I think my fourth time.
Okay.
Yes.
It's often been said that baseball fans are, declining recently. And we're thinking if Shohei Ohtani's performance, like you said, it's been 100 years since there's been a two-way player.
Right.
Do you think baseball's popularity is increasing because of Shohei's performance?
I do believe that he is having a favorable impact on attendance wherever he goes, including both a wider and more diverse ethnic representation.
Great. And Shohei, so, I don't know if you know Stephen A. Smith.
No.
On ESPN, he made a comment like Shohei shouldn't be the #1 player on baseball because he doesn't speak English. What do you think Shohei needs to do or should do to get more popularity?
Well, I don't think that language is ever a barrier for popularity. I don't think that Shohei has to do anything through social media or a special publicity agent. He needs to continue to be himself, play with excellence, and continue to show his love for the game. His love for the game is the most infectious quality that infuses enthusiasm in fans.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your comments.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we'll see a great performance today.
Oh, one pitch is good enough.
One pitch is good enough. Okay, awesome. Thank you so
God
much.
bless you. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。アメリカのファンの声はいかがだったでしょうか。今回はですね、パート1として最初の3人のインタビューを紹介させていただきました。明日はですね、パート2としてですね、残りのインタビューを出していきたいと思いますので、ぜひ明日も見てみてください。Hey, can you guys show me the back of your jersey? Oh, we got Ohtani here. Why do you like Shohei?
Oh, I'd love to have him on the Rangers team. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not the GM.